All right. Welcome. Thanks for coming. I'm Tom. Met you before, but appreciate you coming out today.
Thanks, Tom.
Welcome PGA in Florida as well. My name is Thomas Mantegna, PGA apprentice. This is my advanced player student, Jared. Hopefully we're going to be able to help him out with his game over the next 5 weeks with some lesson planning. Got the 2 video cameras going, so I got 2 different angles here. So today, what we're first going to start with is the short game. We're going to start with chipping, pitching, lobbing the ball, basically controlling the trajectory between the different shots. So we're going to be able to manipulate the rollout, how much spin we hit, where we want to land the ball. So we're going to get real specific about the shot shape with our pitches and our chips around the green. So what we're going to start with, I've got Jared here with this 56 degree. What we're going to do, or was that your 58? 58. All right, perfect. So what we're going to do is we're really going to just set up to the ball normally as we would kind of right in the middle. Got our hands not really leaning too forward one way or the other. Got them pretty much just pointing right at my left hip pocket. I'd like to keep a narrow stance opposed to a really wide stance. So I want to set up to it with a little narrow. And I also like to set up to it with a little bit of an open stance to my target line. So what that allows me to do is I feel like is track the club just a little bit better on that target line, opposed to if I was dead square to it, I feel like I might hit it to the right a little bit. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of chance to swing the club on the correct line with a little bit of a narrow stance. Ball position is where we can get away with the different manipulating of the trajectory. So just by moving the ball around in my stance is going to produce the different ball flights that we're looking for. So the first shot I'm going to have Jared try to hit, and I want you to go set up just like we were talking about with the narrow stance. The first one we're going to try to hit is a low trajectory shot. So I'm going to try to have him play this one off of his back toe. So if you can see this on this camera here, he's going to play it off the back foot, and automatically by just playing it off the back foot, it automatically took that club from a 58 to a 56 just by moving the ball back, and it'll work both directions. If he moves it forward or back, it's going to increase and decrease loft just by moving that ball where he did in his back right foot. So he's got that ball off the back right foot. Now I think the key to this shot is not holding the face open towards the sky, which we're going to do later to get different shots, but this one we want to keep that club face with the toe almost releasing at it and the club face maybe pointing almost left or down. We don't want that right palm to finish at the sky. We want that right palm to finish almost at our target. So we'll go ahead and get Jared in there, and we'll have him hit a couple. Really, the tempo is going to be the key. We don't want to, rush at it. We don't want to decel. That was nice. We want to keep this ball a little bit lower and have it run out a little bit more. Still riding up the face a little bit. Let's try to go ahead and we'll give you show you one here. Let's try to go ahead and keep this thing really low by keeping the hands running too. Let's see how much more run out I'm getting. I'm not going to let that club slide underneath it like we do with most of our pitches when we try to get some air on it. This one, I want to carry 25% and then release the rest of the 75% of the way. Better, kind of it's more of a punch thump kind of a pitch, shot. It's not gonna, it's gonna spin and release. And that one kind of climbed the face a little bit. So that's kind of that's gonna be the next shot that we're looking to hit, that mid-trajectory shot. That's more the runner. But we could land that one probably in here. And I think with you being one of the better players, an advanced player, this is where we can really start getting specific, is where am I want to land this ball, and with what kind of height is it going to come off the club with. So if I'm going to carry it all the way to the cup, I better throw it way up in the air and spin it. Versus if I'm going to run it with a low punch run, then I want to land it just on the collar and let it run out. And honestly, over the years, I found that bump and run shot is the one that goes in most of the time or gets really close because it actually starts to roll like a putt. That's beautiful right there. That's really nice. So he's got it off the back of his foot. He's really letting the toe of that club release. And we're getting this nice run out, and it's acting almost like a putt here. Very nice. Hit it, nice. So let's slow down a little bit. So when we take our practice swings in between, you know, when we're practicing, you know, it might be the mental practice or it's actual physical practice like we're doing right now. We just hit one after another, hit one after another. I like to get a routine developed where we kind of I like to look at the hole as I'm taking my practice strokes, and I know we're hitting to the same target, so you already know how hard to hit it to it. But before I hit, I'm going to look at the target. As I'm looking at it, I'm taking my practice strokes, and I'm trying to visualize that feel that I got that ball, and I'm just soft tossing it to my target. And then I'm going to find out as well when I'm doing this, what's the grain doing? Because it's going to either go into me, it's going to go with me, or it's going to be a little combination of the both. So I'm kind of finding out how this is going to act before I get in there. Then I can go ahead and get in there and be confident with I know how that's going to act, rather than just get in there and just hit. But again, I know we're hitting a bunch from the same lie, so you already know what it's going to do. So let's go ahead and hit this next shot. So we're going to add just a little bit more height to the shot. So I just want to make sure we still record in here. So by adding a little bit more height, or to add a little bit more height, all we're going to do is move that ball. Perfect. All we're going to do is move that ball just a smidge up in the stance. So we're going to set up the same narrow stance. Got my hips open and my feet just slightly open to my target line. But before we hit this one, the way to get the height on this one, opposed to that last one we just hit, is that club face is going to be pointing towards the sky now. So I'm going to try to really make sure I get that thing sliding under, rather than before when we actually let that thing roll over and release more. So it's going to be kind of a hold off, and we're going to kind of get a mid to high trajectory. Definitely higher than the last one, but not a flop. Not a flop shot. Not going to be a, you know, roof it shot. We want to make sure we carry some speed through the shot. Very nice. Kind of sliding a little. Let's get ourselves a little bit tighter of a lie and not as fluffy as a lie, so you don't keep running into that problem. You know? So let's go ahead. Right there where we hit it. I think it's important to obviously accelerate through the shot and hit it with a crisp blow. And I think it's easier to do that if we take a shorter backswing and actually accelerate through our shot. Because then we don't have to try to match up the speed. I just kind of like to use the core. My arms don't really swing this chip shot. I turn away with my chest, and then I turn back through with my chest, and my arms are just kind of hanging there. And that way I really feel like I'm just, again, soft tossing it underneath, just kind of underhanding it. Feel how soft this ball's going to be. That thing's like 20 years old. Really nice. Let's move up on this collar here and see if we get a little bit tighter, because we're definitely using the bounce edge. And I think that's important too, rather than setting that leading edge in and stopping the club, we're setting the bounce edge, right? And just moving the club right through that turf. It didn't even dig. You didn't even hardly take a divot. That's what we're looking for there. Just centeredness of contact is really important. I think people kind of get away from that. It's just trying to, let's back up here again. You know, it's just making sure we get that club on the golf ball first. A lot of people catch a lot of grass in between or catch it thin. You know, catching that ball clean first is underrated, I really feel like. You know, a lot of people kind of don't put the precedent on that ball first. There you go. And that's got that little bit of more of a height to it. Really nice. And then you see how you kind of exaggerated the finish with those soft high hands? I think that's going to help land that ball soft by doing that. Looks at the target, or change up your target. You know, hit one over here to the left, or this left target over here. I think varying up your practice is important than just hit to the same one over and over and over again. You know, we rarely have the same shot on the golf course 2 times in a row. So I'd like to chip to one spot, chip to another spot. This is where you can really get creative with your short game. You don't have to hit one specific type of shot into this hole location here. You can hit a little low runner that I can kind of tell is going to break left or right. You can hit the little zazzer and try to spin it. Actually, that breaks left away from that hole. So there's way different ways to play it for sure. What are you thinking about these type of shots compared to how you normally play them? Is this any different? Is it similar? Is it way different?
It's a little similar. I never thought about playing the low runner to a closer hole. I always think that that's more one that I like to do across the green, but I like the low runner idea to a shorter hole location.
You know, and you could be, I mean, once it gets on the green, you know, it should just start running out like a putt. It's when you've got a little bit of rough to judge through it, that's when the guesswork starts to come. And really, all this chipping is, you know, over a ton of practice and a bunch of, you know, reps, it's a, all right, this didn't work last time, so let me try something else. Okay, this worked. And it's a trial and error thing, and it's really an educated guess. When you have a dicey lie and you've got a green that might be a little firm, it's really your best guess on how you think it's going to come out of the rough and how it's going to react when it lands on the green, right? So if you can manipulate at least the trajectory and at least the run, then that kind of, you know, takes half of your guesswork out. But it's just over years of hitting shots and really working on that short game.
What if I want to get one to this really close one?
You know, you could play a variety of shots. You could play this next one that I'm going to show you. You can play that one. I mean, that mid shot. Really, you don't just have the one shot off the back foot and the middle shot and the next one that I'm about to show you, which is the lob shot. You really have as many as you can put in between your feet, because every time you move it a step this way or a step closer towards your target, towards your left foot, it manipulates. I'll show if I can show on the camera. It manipulates as I move this way. It opens the face, and then as I move this way, it shuts the face. So really, I could play it here. 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 I've got so many different shots, and I think you were kind of playing maybe like a in between a lob. It wasn't a super lob, and it wasn't that like mid-flighter. It was kind of an in-betweener, which is where that creativity comes from. I just feel like when it lands here versus here, you know, or right on that collar, really will dictate that first bounce. So where you want to land the ball is going to be big. You ever get one of those where you land it here and it just creases out? It's because it's landed off the back of the collar right here, or vice versa, where it lands here soft or it lands here and checks. So that's the thing. That's where it comes in, where you just got to trial and error and best guess it. But I think that's your play right there, the one that you just hit to get that short one. Or you could play the bump and run. You could get a hybrid out. You could, you know, like I do with the professional blade. It's whatever you're feeling comfortable with, I think. Look at that, another one. You know, don't try to outsmart the room by playing some super, you know, difficult shot, but play what you want to play. Play whatever shot you're envisioning. I think that's the key to when, you know, when better players are trying to take it to that next level. It's just, you've got every shot in your bag. You just need to dial it up and call upon which one you're going to play. You know, which one's feeling most appropriate at that time.
I think I'd rather play the bump and run, like you said, to the shorter ones. Get it on the ground, let it get a chance to go in the hole.
You know? I mean, it's fun to zazz it. It really is. It's fun to hit it really, you know, fancy lob, but I think the guessing how much it's going to spin. Hey, how did I catch it? Is it going to sit and spin? Is it going to hit and release? How many times you hit a lob shot and it lands in the green and runs out? And you're like, what the heck? It should have stacked. And it didn't. So this shot really can control your distance, I think, better. And you'll kind of get it up and down a little bit more. So I'm going to get some balls and we'll collect and we'll work on that last shot, the lob shot. Just a progression of the rest of the shots. No, I just need a few here. So really, what we're doing is we're expanding our repertoire, we're expanding our arsenal of short game shots. So when you get into a spot that, around the green, when you miss the green, you've got all the different shots. Now this is one of those in case of emergency, and as we're learning that low one's got to be the favorable shot, but in case you have something, and I always used to look up first. How can I get that up over this thing? Now, I look down first, and if I can't take it low, then I'll go ahead and take it high. This thing, it's just going to be, instead of the bump and run off my back foot, or the little mid-flighter, now I'm going to move it up off my front foot, and really I haven't moved the club this way. It's still pointing at my left hip. I've got the club face pointing to the sky, and I'm really going to try to engage this bounce edge rather than this leading edge. Because when I engage this bounce edge, it allows a little margin of error for me to slide the club underneath, and it won't dig. Versus if I try to set the leading edge, it might just stop and chunk it. So again, I'm going to try to lay that club face open, right? I'm going to try to keep this thing moving with some speed, and then the high soft hand finish will get that thing nice and high and soft top. So let's kind of see. Some soft hands are really going to be the key to this thing. When you death grip it, or when somebody death grips it, that club's not going to be able to travel. Because I almost let my right hand slide underneath it. And again, it's like I got a tray of drinks on that right hand, and I'm just not going to let them spill as I come right through. Comes right underneath. It might be a little bit of an outside the wind path too, if anything. Narrow up that stance a little bit. Nice. I think the key to good ball striking with chipping is a constant knee flex, or a consistent knee flex. Because when we start to, and you just did a great one there, you kept your knees really quiet, or where you started them. Because when we get our knees up, the club comes up too, and we thin it, and vice versa. When our knees come down, then we chunk it. So to keep that nice level, I think is I like that in your swing right now in your short game. You keeping the shoulders level, the hips are level. There's not a lot of swaying or up and down movement, which allows you to deliver the club right back on the ball if you need to. Really nice. Really nice. So, of all three of the shots, which one do you like the best? Which one do you think you're having the most success with? I kind of see you hitting this one. I kind of see you hitting this one really good. I mean, you send a couple along, but that's the idea, is to get that ball up in the air and you sliding it underneath.
Seems to be the easiest.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's the most reliable for
judging it, right? It's tough to judge. And you are in a little squirrely lie, but
I really am having trouble getting like ball's position. But then when I do,
it takes some commitment. You really got to swing at it, and you really got to swing hard at it. But I think in the proper situation, it could be helpful. In the proper situation, I think it could be helpful. And I also like to show it just to illustrate the extremes of your 58 degree just by manipulating some ball movement. We really didn't ever manipulate where the club was or this way. It just moved in my stance, and I kept the same club to keep it simple. And again, you got two other wedges, so you could really do this again with your 52 and your 56 and produce even more shots. So you've got an array or a repertoire or an arsenal of short game shots right now. We just got to pick a spot specific where you want to land this thing, And the harder you swing at it, the more open it is, the higher it's going to go in the air, and the shorter it's going to travel. So you can even lay this thing even more open, and then just swing. I mean, there's nothing back there to play it. That's that idea. You're just tossing it with your right hand. It's that feel, it's that visualizing what you want to produce, by taking those practice plays and really feeling what the turf's doing. Because you got to read this lie, kind of like a hand of cards. You kind of got to read. You got to read it and kind of see what you got dealt there. Very nice, really nice. I like that a lot. You seem to be hitting them all really good. So that means you could use them all when it comes to the situation, or when it comes time. It looks like you could hit them all.
That's the one where I had the ball in the wrong position and chunked it. But
where'd you have it?
I have it too far in the middle of my stance, trying to hit that clock shot, and I hit the leading edge on the ground.
Right. I mean, you could